That is right, baby. We are back. Welcome to the Three Man Rush podcast. I'm your host, Landon Oliver. Joining me are my two co-hosts, Andrew Scott and Big Jared Holly, here on this lovely Thursday night, where we got some Thursday night football, basically involving the two teams, not including Patrick Mahomes, that are in Roger Goodell's wet dreams. Included Patrick Mahomes. We got Diddy's 1,000 pounds of baby oil. He's thinking all about it. But look, it's the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. That's what we got going on right now. Thursday night football on Amazon doesn't get any better than a bunch of losing teams. Other than that, how's everybody doing? How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. I mean, the Giants and Cowboys were playing, so it was like, hey, we got to find something else better to do. Anything else better to do other than that. So it's good to be here, man. It's fun to get to kind of look back on the first couple weeks and see how we think the rest is going to shake out. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Big Jared, what's up?
Vince McMahon documentary.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
I finished it last night.
It's pretty good. I got like one episode left. So.
I literally turboed it last. I started it yesterday afternoon.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm downloading that to watch on my flight tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. 6 episodes, about an hour long each.
Yeah. It's officially that time of the year when we get football back and they start putting out the goods for pulp culture fans like myself. Probably gonna watch that Mendez Brothers documentary right after that. And then
I thought that was in
and that's pretty much my week. So
that was in October, I thought. When that
it's out already. I'm pretty sure
it's out now.
I believe so. I think it's number one in their top 10.
Is it really?
I think so.
There you go.
Landon's
researching it right now.
Yeah, I gotta look this up.
Jared, what's your 3 weeks in? What's your biggest surprise of the NFL season so far?
Probably the Bengals 0-3. I mean, I was high on them. It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. It feels bad, man.
Jaden Daniels, I think, is right now the best rookie quarterback in this class. I was high on him in the offseason, so I'm not really shocked on it. But the Bears are still the Bears, and they play defense and still can't get offenses clicking. I don't know. The NFL's kind of been predictable for the most part. I think Minnesota's a shocking team.
Seattle.
Yeah,
Seattle doesn't surprise me too much, to be honest. I'm surprised they're 3-0, but I'm not surprised they've looked good.
I don't know, too. I mean, we can't. Has Jaden Daniels been technically the best rookie?
Yeah, rookie quarterback, yes. Rookie quarterback, yes.
Well, yeah. But that's what I'm saying is because I mean, really, you got Caleb
Neighbors has been the best rookie.
Well, you've got Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, and then JJ McCarthy's hurt. Drake May's not even playing.
Right.
Yeah. So we don't really know, is he the best quarterback? And
just for 3 weeks, he's been the best quarterback. I think.
Yeah, that's really that's really kind of based off of one game. I mean, he's used his legs.
He was lights out against Cincy. Holy
91% completion rate.
Yeah. See, I'll say this though, not to Caleb Williams wasn't my number one quarterback in that class, but Caleb Williams is being asked to do a lot more than what Jaden Daniels is being asked to do in their offenses.
Shane Waldron sucked.
No, don't give me that look, Jared. It is Caleb Williams has a ton of responsibility, getting them into pass protections.
He has a lot better roster around him than what Jaden Daniels has too.
Washington's offensive line is light years better than what the Bears have. Light years.
Who's Jaden Daniels' number 2 option? The pass to?
His legs.
Yeah.
Throw it to Terry McLaurin or run. Which has worked out.
Noah Brown is that wide receiver 2 for Washington?
We'll see how it stays long term. But I mean, all those weapons that we were so excited for.
I was going to say that generally works out pretty well.
All of them on the field yet either. So
generally works out pretty well when you actually have time to throw it to your number 2 wide receiver, unlike Caleb Williams.
He's more electric than Caleb Williams, and we all knew that going into this.
As a runner, yeah,
no,
I don't
maybe
think
as a runner.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he's more electric. I'm just saying, it's we're getting. It's almost exact like to a point. It's almost the exact like Andrew Luck RG3 thing all over again. It's so weird. It's because like Jaden Daniels
Close.
is like he's got a relatively decent running game. Like Brian Robinson's not a bad player. Eckler's not a bad player. Their offensive line is so much better. The play calling in Washington has been much better. Like they're really like almost in a correct way, like with a rookie like that, they're almost kind of like holding his hand. They're giving him a lot of screens, a lot of dump offs.
Yeah.
They're not asking him to do a lot of stuff. And it's like literally almost the exact opposite in Chicago, where like Caleb Williams has basically been like everything. Like you have to make the protection calls. You have to get us into the right, checks, whether, in the run game or anything. Your offensive line is terrible, so it's up to you to create and run around because he can't even get to his second read. Or he's getting
what defense do you hate on more than anything? And you love the team. Who did Caleb Williams play on Sunday?
The call he threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Caleb Williams had his best game of the year against the
Colts.
Colts.
Okay. He must have been
on that. I didn't realize
he was the only reason they were even remotely in that game.
It was kind of like garbage time. I mean, he ended up kind of bringing them somewhat back into the game, but a lot of it was kind of garbage time stuff.
Yeah, they had no running game. Yeah, he threw.
They've had no running game whatsoever.
The
offensive line has not been able to run block at all. DeAndre Swift has looked awful.
He's washed. He's washed.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
I'm Trent Richardson.
I don't think he's like the DeAndre Swift we used to be excited about, but I also don't think that it's completely his fault that his yards per carry went from like a career 4.0 yards per carry runner to like I don't think he's averaging even 2 yards per carry this year. Like I don't think it's his fault that to that extent. Like I think it's a mix of Swift not being as good and then the offensive line.
50-50.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Roshan Johnson looks better than DeAndre Swift at this point.
Yes.
Khalil Herbert would look like the best back in that backfield if they stopped just trying to use him as a goal line back. I don't understand how you can come out and be like, we've got Khalil Herbert and Roschel Johnson. We're going to use Khalil Herbert as the goal line back. Like, what?
Yeah,
like,
Caleb Williams
they need to ship Shane Waldron the fuck out of there ASAP. Like, even this offseason, JSN got interviewed. It was like, we got any tips for the Bears players with their your old OC over there as their new offensive coordinator, and all he said was good luck. Like, come on, man.
This last game, and this is not even to take away anything from Jaden Daniels. Like he because you still
he had one of the best throws of the year.
Yeah,
on that touchdown.
You still have to.
Yeah, that was a bomb.
Yeah, like you still have to make the throws. You still have to make the plays, right?
He got lit on that play too. He knew he was going to get hit.
But yeah, like Caleb Williams just threw for 363 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I mean, he had the interceptions, which one of them was just a great play from the safety, like fantastic.
The one-handed.
Well, it was like Nick Cross knocked it up in the air, and then Jalen Jones made that one-handed, interception.
I think Caleb's gonna be fine. I think
I'm not worried at all about it. But the second,
I think both of them are gonna be solid quarterbacks.
That's my thing is like I think they're both going to be good. Like it's just so weird to sit here and I know like it's just human nature, right? To compare, it's just what we do every year. But like I said, it's almost the exact same thing as the RG3 Andrew Luck thing, where like Andrew Luck came into a team, and trust me, that Colts team was like a million times worse than the Bears. That was one of the worst rosters ever. But it's very similar because they gave him the keys, and they were like, okay, like you are like fully like you are in charge of everything. Like, and I mean, like I was sitting there and I was watching some of it because of course I had to watch the film. So I've already watched that Bears Colts game like 6 times at this point.
Sorry.
Well, it's just part of it. But so there was like 1 or 2 plays that I saw in there where Caleb Williams is pointing out the blitzers. Like he's like, this guy's the mic, like this guy's hot, all this. He's pointing it all out to the offensive lineman, and the offensive lineman just completely ignores it, and Caleb Williams just gets lit up. And like it looks like a bad play. And it like, I mean, everybody's like, oh man, like Caleb Williams is, he didn't have that good of a game. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, he did everything right. Like there's
Have
nothing
y'all
to do about that.
have y'all seen the picture where the Bears offense was on the goal line and they tried
Oh,
to run?
yeah.
I forget what
Yeah.
it was. They tried to run a play to the left and the
It was
entire offensive line was
it
on
was
the
a
ground.
sprint option. It was a sprint option to the left of the
That's
field.
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they were all just laying
The
there.
whole offensive line was laying down. I mean, they just laid down and took it. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
I mean, like, yeah, you can't play quarter. Like, I was talking to Jared earlier, because usually, like, whenever I'm bored, I just watch film, right? And normally, if it's not the Colts game, once I finish that game, my next game's usually Green Bay, because I love the Packers.
Because you love Malik Willis.
I do like Malik. I don't mind him at all. I think he's done a really good job of what he's being asked to do. Very similar to Jaden Daniels, where they're basically holding Malik Willis's hand at this point. But I was watching the game and like I've heard so much, which that's the first Titans game I've watched this year, right? And I've heard so much shit talk about how awful Will Levis has been. And so like I was watching that game and I'm like, okay, I want to see just like how bad this is. Because I looked at the stat line, like it wasn't terrible, but you had the 2 interceptions, one of them was a pick 6. So I'm watching this game, and the whole time I'm like, man, like Levis actually like, see, there we go. I was waiting on it every time.
You're good. You're good. Do your thing. Do your thing. You're good, bro. I think the part of the reason why Levis is getting such a bad rap is he has just been like a meme printing machine so far to start. It's like every week he gives us a new meme, whether it's him on his knees with his head over his shoulders or like, yeah. And, and so that's what everybody sees, right? So like, oh my God. And which, don't get me wrong, Will Levis has overall been pretty rough, but like, it's just been amplified because he has that one horrible ass play every week that just gets him on every every NFL meme page that's on there, and so that's
what I was saying is like. So what I was saying is, I'm watching
it all the time too. He would just have meltdowns.
Yeah.
So I'm watching.
Was so funny.
Yeah. So I'm watching this game, and I'm like, man, like Will Levis actually hasn't played that terrible. Like he's not been bad at all, and I mean, he's got no chance. In fact, I was telling Jared, I'm like, this guy, like, if his first read isn't open, like, he's getting sacked like every time. I mean, it's like it's horrendous.
Yeah, the offensive line is god awful.
Like, and like we knew it would be, right? We know it.
Yeah,
they're actually. I think they're worse than what I thought they were. But even then, like, there's just like
your expectations were low, but god damn.
Yeah, like I mean, but even then, but I'm being dead serious. Is like he gets like. He'll go to get through his, he'll get through his first read and his first read's unopened. By the time he moves on to his second, he's got dudes in his lap. Like, I mean, like he's getting murdered out there. And like the interception, the pick 6, I'm watching that. And I'm like, I mean, that's just a great play by Jair Alexander. Like they're like, because it's literally like a catch and release. Like you're not reading, like you're seeing it and you're throwing it. It's not like you're.
Yeah, Alexander just made a good play.
Yeah, it's just a great play. And I'm like, man, like this. So like that's not really a bad pick. The last, the second pick, I mean, it was ultimately on him, but it's towards the end of the game. They're up by,
trying to force it.
Yeah, you're just trying to make a play.
Yeah, that's the same thing I saw.
And you're trying to make a play in a situation where there's not really opportunities for him to make plays. And
I don't feel like the offense is very creative either.
No, that's what I'm saying is like there's not really many opportunities like for him to go out there and actually make these like really good plays and these like open throws and do all this fun stuff. Like it's not creative. They ran the ball 6 times with their running backs, or maybe it was 6 or 8. Like it wasn't a lot.
Either way, it's not great, Bob.
Yeah, and so like I'm watching this mainly just because I wanted to watch the Packers, which has been like the exact opposite.
They've been fun to watch.
Which is the exact opposite situation because Matt LaFleur's
been in his bag.
Yeah, dude, he is on a heater right now, and it, like the way they're running, like their zone run scheme and all the motion, and like they're running like duo and all this stuff along like their offensive line movement. Zach Tom has been phenomenal. It's just so fun to watch, and it's literally like watching the tail of 2 tapes. Whenever you're watching the Titans offense and you're watching their offensive line, and then you're watching Green Bay's offense. And it's kind of funny because the quarterback now in Green Bay that is having success in Green Bay with a good situation was on the Titans and looked horrendous.
Right.
And that goes back to show you situations really, we said it on this show a million times. Situations absolutely matter.
Well,
And
yeah,
so,
I mean, look at Sam Darnold. I
yeah,
mean, it's
dude,
it's the
crazy,
first he really had to be.
crazy stat. And I think I might have texted it to you that I saw on Twitter the other day. Sam Darnold is younger than Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
I believe it. I believe
Crazy,
it.
crazy. That is crazy.
So let's talk about this. I mean, we a few before the season started, we made our division predictions. So let's just stick in the AFC South. We'll start right there in the middle. Let's stick in the AFC South. Landon, you and I still had the Texans winning. Jared had the Colts. The only big
oh,
difference,
you laugh. Look
really,
at the Texans got blown out last week.
well, the only big difference really was
The Jaguars.
Landon had the Jags up there too, and they're 0-3. You know what? Let me pull that up too.
Which I will say for the Texans, they're also they're dealing with a lot of injuries right now too. They
got blown out by Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota's been a really good football team, but yeah, I saw today, so Tank Dell's out, and they're already missing Joe Mixon and their backup running back. And then I got the notification earlier, Nico Collins.
Cam Akers is the backup running back. He's there. They're missing their third string
What's
guy.
up with Nico Collins?
Hamstring, is that what it was?
I don't know what's going on with Nico.
He didn't practice today. He popped up on the injury report.
It was a late add to the injury report. Yeah, but I mean, even said all that, they're 2-1. They're still on top of the division. They're the only team that's even better than 500. The shocking thing for me, I might not have been as high on the Jags as you, Landon, but I thought that they would be a hell of a lot better. I definitely didn't think they were going to be 0-3.
I didn't think they would be.
I thought it was going to be a close race for second in the division between the Colts and the Jags.
And
I might have had the Jags third, but I wasn't expecting.
I feel like we could say this about 90% of the NFL right now. Dude, that offensive line is horrendous. It's horrendous. The offensive line
they're playing man defense at a wild rate, and they do not have the personnel
they
to
don't
do
have
that
the
shit.
horses for that. Yeah, it's trash.
So I don't know.
Bad.
I don't know how long Doug Peterson can hold on to that job.
I don't know. Did you watch the game, Jared?
Yeah, I watched. Are you talking about the Bills?
Yeah. So there was that one play, and you can tell how bad the offensive line is because Trevor Lawrence is seeing ghosts out there. There was that one play where
he like Sam Darnold.
Yeah, where ETN was in his peripheral vision, just throwing a block. There wasn't even any pressure on him. It was his own player, and I'm guessing he just saw color flash in his peripherals, and so he pirouetted and tried to get out of the pocket, and it was a clean pocket, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's seeing ghosts, man. Jacksonville's ruined that kid. It's over.
I'm just gonna say it. I don't think Lawrence is gonna be the guy. I don't think he's gonna live up to the number one pick.
He probably won't live up to the whole generation. Well, I think there's pretty much no doubt. He's not gonna live up to the whole generational thing. But
I know you're gonna defend the quarterback, Landon, but
I told everybody who was my quarterback one in that class.
Who was it? Who all was in that class?
Years ago.
It wasn't Trevor Lawrence. And I got so much shit.
Who all was in that class again?
It was Justin Fields.
Fields and Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Yeah.
Trey Lance definitely didn't make the cut.
Yeah, that was my quarterback 2 in the class. He's my quarterback 1 for fantasy, and that definitely didn't work out. But
he's my quarterback 3.
He was my quarterback 2.
My quarterback 1 in that class was Justin.
I had Lawrence as quarterback 1 for that class. I wasn't
never
really so much bought into the generational thing, I don't think, but I did think that I thought he was the clear best quarterback in the class, though.
I thought Fields, because my thing with Lawrence, and this is kind of what you kind of see in the NFL, especially whenever you get picked number 1 overall, is going all the way back to high school and then going all the way through Clemson. He never dealt with adversity, ever. He never had adversity in his entire career.
Is this your way of trying to tell me that he ain't got that dog in him?
Well, it's not. I'm not saying as far as he ain't got that dog in him. I don't mean it like that. But I'm just saying,
Is sunshine too soft for the NFL?
yeah, like at every moment of his career, he's always had like the high school he went to, very big high school, very big powerhouse high school.
So he's one of them rich spoiled kids that
Had
just had it made his whole life.
He's always had a great offensive line. He's always had, high caliber receivers to throw to on Sunday. Like people he was throwing
Saturdays.
to.
Yeah.
On Saturdays.
The Clemson receivers were wild whenever he was there. Yeah.
Well, their offensive line was great, and they had good running games. Like he never had to carry.
I mean, most of the top quarterbacks that were, that go to those Power 5 schools like Clemson, Ohio State, LSU, they all pretty much have that luxury typically.
Exactly. But then, like, you get to the NFL, and especially whenever you're taking number 1 overall, and that's why we see so many number 1 overall quarterbacks fail, right? Is because they've never had to go.
Situation matters.
Yeah, like they've never had to go through adversity to where they have to deal with a bad offensive line and deal with bad receivers and deal with bad coaching and bad organizations, because they've been surrounded by greatness their entire careers. And that greatness is part of what allows them to be great, because at that point, all you got to worry about is going out there and making the throws and playing quarterback. You don't have to worry about any of that other stuff. And so that's why you see a lot of number 1 overall picks fail, is because they get to these situations like a Jacksonville, and all of a sudden your offensive line, you're getting smoked every other play. And then you start second guessing your footwork, and you start second guessing how fast I'm getting the ball out. And then you just start thinking too much, and you've never had to do that in your entire life. And some guys, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, John Elway, it's a very small list. Eli Manning was one. Some guys can rise above that, and you can basically tread your head above water until everything around you grows with you, right? The organization grows with you as you get better.
I think that's the point I'm making.
Most
not getting better.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But for a lot of players, it's really easy to fall into that hole of like, hey, there's not enough around me. I'm going to have to play hero ball. I'm going to have to force everything.
Yeah, man. The offensive line stinks, but like he's got plenty of weapons at his disposal. I don't want to put it all on the head coach, but I also think that time might have passed.
Yeah, the scheme is stale.
I get fucking rocked. I get rocked to sleep watching the Jags offense on the field.
It's bad. It's just bad football. And that's really a lot of the NFL right now, dude. It's bad football. And
There's
really
a lot of bad football.
And really, especially quarterback play. There's a lot of bad quarterback play. And
I think that's the product of rushing these guys on the field, asking them to do too much too early, not letting them develop.
Well, I was telling Jared the other day, like a lot of that too, it really goes back to college football too right now, because college football has now turned into like this whole like mercenary for hire thing where these guys aren't getting developed, right? They're not staying and developing and learning. It's more of, hey, I'm not a starter this year. Instead of staying and learning and getting my shot later, like a CJ Stroud or, Jaden Daniels, that's a really good example of a guy who stayed, he didn't stay. He transferred from Arizona State, but so that was a bad example, actually. But like guys like CJ Stroud,
that's a good example.
Yeah, so like you stay and you learn, and then you get your shot, and then you kind of sink or swim at that point. Most of the time, if you're at the talent level,
Cream's always going to rise to the top. I mean,
exactly, but these players aren't really getting developed properly. And then they're getting into the NFL. And the NFL, up until recently, has never been a developmental league. You develop rookies and they get better. But I mean, you don't get to the NFL to where you're having to teach players the basics of playing the position.
Well, that goes back to, a little behind the scenes, our conversation, Lane. And my point is this, like, you got Tom Brady and other guys saying these guys are touching the field too soon. The problem is, though, what option do these teams have? There is no more veterans left. You have Andy Dalton in Carolina, and you have Ryan Tannehill in free agency, and that's about the extent of it. There's not a whole lot out there. So it's what is the option to roll out instead of putting in the rookie who's not fully ready yet?
Well, I mean, I think New England's doing a really good example. New England. I mean, like, is New England? Yeah, is New England going to be a good team under
No.
Jacoby Brissett? No, they're not. But they're letting Drake May sit and learn. Like JJ McCarthy. Obviously it was probably due to injury.
They
but
don't really have much of a choice there.
Yeah,
but I mean,
but
if
he
Sam
wasn't gonna
Darnold would have
play
been the
anyway.
starter, if Sam Darnold would have been named the starter week 1, he still would have played the way he's been playing. Like they wouldn't have inserted JJ McCarthy at this point.
No.
Can you name 5 veteran quarterbacks that are backups right now in the NFL?
That are backups?
Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd have to look at depth charts. I mean, off the top of my head, I just
Well,
don't
there's
give a shit enough about backup quarterbacks.
Well, it depends on what you count as veteran too. Like, because technically a veteran, like the average NFL career for players,
5 years plus.
4. So you're basically looking at,
can you name a backup quarterback that's been in the NFL for 5+ years?
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, there'd be Wentz.
That's a legitimate NFL quarterback.
Well, if they're a legitimate NFL quarterback, they're not going to be backups.
Yeah, I mean, if they were bad, they wouldn't be backup. I mean, if they were good, they wouldn't be backups.
Yeah.
The point I'm getting at is there's not a lot of options, and that's the reason why you're going to have first-year players playing every snap.
I think Jameis Winston. I would put Jameis Winston in that. I would put Carson Wentz in that. I mean, whenever Wentz had to make spot starts for the Rams, he looked okay last year. I think that he is a serviceable backup quarterback. That it's sad that that's what his career has been taken to. But I think Wentz is in that category. I think Winston's in that category. Darnold was before he got put into the starting position. Flacco. Jake Browning didn't look bad as a backup whenever he had to play for Cincinnati last year.
That's what I was going to. I would say Jake Browning.
I don't think he's been in the league that long, or maybe I just don't.
Every one of those guys, though, that we're naming off are behind guys that have played in the league outside of Anthony Richardson that's played in the league for 4+ years that are current starters.
Well, yeah. So I mean, if you're going to draft a rookie quarterback, you need to do a better job of having a serviceable backup.
It's take for example, like the Raiders, like Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew would be is such a good guy to sit and learn behind. Is he technically a backup? No, because he's starting right now in the NFL. But
the Raiders got 2 good backups. They just don't have a starter.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Is that's a good situation. That would be a good player. Like if you were to draft a rookie, if you brought in a Gardner Minshew or a Joe Flacco and let those guys sit for a year or 2 and learn behind those guys, that's a good situation. Even though Gardner Minshew is technically not a backup, that would be more along the like Flacco. Jake Browning, I think, is a really good example. I think. Maybe even Jacoby Brissett, I think, is a really good guy to learn behind. Andy Dalton's a really good guy. Jameis, say what you want about Jameis and Wentz, with their turnovers, they're extremely smart individuals. I think even like a guy like Garoppolo, I think could even be a good guy.
I'm done with that.
Yeah,
I'm out on that. I don't want my franchise quarterback sitting behind Garoppolo.
The issue, in my opinion, is all these teams are looking for a quick answer and a savior for their franchise.
Yeah, I mean that's just the nature of the league. Is what have you done for me lately?
And it's the lack availability for veteran quarterback. There's just not. The league is completely younger than what it's ever been, and that's just where we're at. There's just not a lot of options.
So tell me this, Jared. Since we're almost 30 minutes in, we haven't even wrapped up one division yet.
I know.
Are we? So Landon, I feel like we're probably both still pretty comfortable with our pick for the Texans for this division.
Yeah.
All right, Jared, are you we all got to keep in mind we're only 3 weeks in with these discussions, so there doesn't have to be drastic changes. But now that we've seen what we've seen for 3 weeks, would you still pick the Colts to win the division?
Probably not.
Would you be Texans as well?
Yeah, at this point.
So you want to see something crazy?
It can't be the Titans or the Jags. So
no, they're dead.
It's not the Colts.
This is pretty crazy if you look at it. Look at the points for and points against. The Colts technically have the best offense and the best defense in the AFC South. If you go by that,
yeah, I think if they can, if they can piece it together, I still think the Colts could win the division. I don't think I don't
The
think
Colts
it's
need
crazy.
to
They're the only
focus-
team that can challenge Houston, but
the Colts offense needs to revolve around Jonathan Taylor. And that,
yeah,
I think
it
that
should
gives them
run.
the
It
I
edge.
should run
disagree.
JT.
I disagree.
No.
I disagree.
You watch more film than me, but just by watching on Sunday,
So here's my argument, and I actually made this argument earlier whenever we had our Colts Steelers preview because they asked about this. So here's the thing: if you want to win ball games this year, then yes, you put the training wheels on Anthony Richardson, and you feed Jonathan Taylor 30 times a game.
Do you have to put the training wheels on your starting quarterback to feature your running back?
you need to do what they're doing in
That
Washington
much, yeah.
with Anthony Richardson.
I'm not saying they got to give him the ball 40 times a game, but like they should be a
So
run heavy offense.
So what is Anthony Richardson's biggest flaw?
Inability to
I don't. You would know
accuracy.
better than me, but if I had to guess, from me watching him, I've never went back and watched film of Colts games after the fact. But watching him live, it would be to me. I think it would be accuracy and footwork.
Yep.
Okay, so basically playing from the pocket, right? Playing
Pretty
from the
much.
pocket.
Yeah.
So, how do you get better at that?
I mean,
More
practice
reps.
and game reps.
You do it. You do it.
So you're right. You're ready 3 weeks in to throw the season out the window. Because if that's
Had them finishing third in the division,
yeah.
Jared.
I don't think that. I
This
don't
is the
think
thing. Is
I don't
are
think
we
you have to
willing
turn the
this
offense
is-
into like a pass heavy
no,
offense.
so this
Right.
is what I'm saying. Is are you
Richardson
willing
to be
to
able to get reps.
sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice short-term success for long-term development?
I just don't agree that you have to do that to accomplish
Yeah.
having it. Like
I
I
think
think
and I-
Richardson
and I think
will
Shane
get plenty of
Steichen-
reps while
I
also
think
being
Shane
a run
Steichen and the Colts
offense.
actually are doing that. That's why I think you're seeing you haven't seen many.
Yeah,
design
if
quarterback
they were doing that, they wouldn't have taken Jonathan Taylor off the field in y'all's second game of the year.
It's
If they were
amazing what happens.
if they were sacrificing that, JT would be playing as he should be. JT should have been playing. Should be on the field for the majority of the snaps. Like I don't think you're sacrificing anything if you're willing to take JT off the field in the fourth quarter.
Well, I'm not saying they're not trying to win ball games, but I'm saying is what Anthony Richardson is bad at, right? Is he needs reps and he needs to learn how to play from the pocket and he needs to be a pocket pat. Have you seen many designed runs for Anthony Richardson this year?
No, I've been kind of surprised on how minimal that's been.
So let me tell you why. Is because last year is playing a big role into this, right? Like him missing all those reps last year, it's played a big role into his development. He missed a lot of good stuff. So now they're trying to fast track. Like this year, like they're still trying to win ball games. I'm not saying they're throwing the towel in on the season, but they want Anthony Richardson to get the reps as a passer, as a pocket passer, to go through. Like this is a very different offense than what Washington is doing with Jaden Daniels. Like they're not holding his hand. Like they're giving him everything. Like we're gonna throw the book at you, and we're gonna let you learn on the job. And what that's going to revolve around is like this is a very pro offense, right? Like there's not that many read option, college gimmicky stuff. Like you don't have a lot of that in Shane Steichen's offense. This is very pro, Mike Norvell, type of offense. Like this is
to me.
You still have
it should be no different than what they did with Lamar his first couple years in the league. Like they did the same thing with Lamar.
Yeah, I disagree.
They put training wheels on him like they did Jalen Daniels.
But it's not the same. Lamar Jackson was a Heisman winning quarterback who played multiple years in college.
Yeah,
he was a much better passer coming out of college than Anthony Richardson.
You don't have like Anthony Richardson. This is literally his 20th game since high school that he's about to go into. Not since college, since high school.
If that route, as bad as the defense is, and if you put the ball in AR's hand, and that's what you want to do, then you could throw the season out the window. There's no chance to have.
And I think they're willing to sacrifice the short-term success to get him the reps that he needs to evolve as a passer for long-term development. I think this is much better. They're not thinking 2023, dude. or 2024. Like, they're not. They're thinking 2026 and beyond. Like, this isn't for this season.
Chris Ballard ain't gonna have a job if that's the case.
I agree.
Well, it depends. Like, so it's 2026. That's what I'm saying. If Anthony Richardson shows no improvement by the end of this year and no improvement next year, then yeah, I would agree that Chris Ballard's going to be out of a job. but that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's why they're throwing so much at him now, and they're asking him to do so much as a quarterback. They're not giving him the training wheels and the crutch of, hey, like, we're going to run you 10 to 15 times a game. Hey, we're going to give you these easy little dump off, screen passes. Like, he is pushing the ball down the field at a very high rate. Like, he's standing in the pocket. He's making throws. He's making reads. And to me, what's great is whenever you're watching him and you're looking at it, the throws aren't accurate. It's not good. It's not good. But his eyes are in the right place. He's making the right decisions. He's making the correct reads, and he's getting through the progressions correctly. And that's what you need to see from young guys.
Yeah, I'm no Shagensteichen by any stretch of the imagination. That guy has forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. But I don't think it's. I think you should, to an extent, you should let Anthony Richardson be Anthony Richardson too. Like, there should be design runs. There should be things that, like, I feel like that
there will be a little bit.
I think those types of plays would make him comfortable and raise
a
his
lot of that too.
It's like that's like Steve Kerr being like, "Hey, Steph, this game we really don't want you to shoot very many threes." Like, I don't get, like, he's the most athletically gifted quarterback in NFL history, and you're just going to
make him a pocket.
Not really.
Well,
use
a lot of that too,
like
a lot of it too is the offense hasn't been on the field a whole lot as well, because they can't sustain drives.
Because they won't let him sustain drives with his legs. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that part has baffled me. I don't get it. I think it would help raise his confidence. Like, I mean, you didn't draft Anthony Richardson because you thought he was going to be Peyton Manning.
No, but I mean, he's never going to be Peyton Manning throwing the ball. That's
what I'm saying. So don't try to make him that. Let him.
But they're not trying to make him Peyton Manning. You're just.
I'm being extreme. It's an extreme example, but I'm just saying, like, let him be Anthony Richardson.
He's got so much that he needs to work on passing the ball that I think, like I said, I think they're just, and this isn't me knowing anything. This is just my opinion, right?
Yeah.
I think that's why they're just trying to fast track the development as a passer and throw a lot more at him from, like, NFL passing concepts, making reads from the pocket, doing that. Because
is fast tracking that even realistic though? Like, is that something that complex? Is that something you can fast track?
It is, if you have the guy that's willing to work at it. And I think that's where they believe in him. They believe in his work ethic.
I believe it. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
100%.
I think they believe that they can throw the book at him, and with his work ethic, he will take it to heart and he will learn. And you're going to be better off moving forward with it happening. Because what you don't want to happen is them rely so heavily on the quarterback run game and Jonathan Taylor that now you're into 2025 and you're going into 2026 and he's still struggling from a passer level, right? You don't want that.
No, I mean that was always the concern and the gamble that you were taking drafting Richardson.
Yeah. And it's still possible, right? Like, that still could be the case, but it's not going to be from lack of reps. It's not going to be from lack of trying. Like, if you're not giving him the reps and giving him a chance to learn and struggle through what he needs to struggle through early on in his career, then you're just kind of like, robbing Peter to pay Paul, I would say. So where, you get the short-term success, right? You get Jonathan Taylor 100-something yards, Anthony Richardson 100-something yards on the ground. He's might be good for one or two plays to Alec Pierce, but then, like I said, you're entering into his, the fourth year of his rookie contract, and the guy's still struggling to make simple throws because he just hasn't done it enough.
Yeah.
Because you've kept him away from it because he struggles at it. And that's not where I want to live in. So I'm okay. Like I said, I picked the Colts to finish third, as you can see on the chart. this year was never. This was never about the Colts being competitive this year for me. I knew they would not be competitive.
I still think they can be. I really do. I still think they can.
It all depends. Like now, if Anthony Richardson, I think they could really have like a Green Bay type of season, like Green Bay last year, where they struggled early on, and you saw Jordan Love struggle early on.
Yep, and then
he wasn't very good at all
down the stretch.
Yeah, and then but they kept plugging away, and then finally it just clicked with Jordan Love, and then that team took off. I think the Colts could be in that very similar situation where they struggle early on. Richardson's still trying to get, through the reps, and maybe it might be week 10. Maybe week 10, it just clicks, and he's learned. He's struggled through. He's done. He's at that point he's got 16 games worth of reps of him doing the little things, right? With him throwing so much at him, and then he takes off, and then you're not looking back. So that's just my opinion. Let's get on to a different division.
Yeah. So we got this division as a clean sweep for the Texans now at this point through 4 weeks. All right, let's just go up to the next one above it, where you guys got the we got the 3-0 Steelers at the top. I'm gonna let you guys talk about this division for a little bit, and I'll be right back. But you guys break down the AFC North, what we've seen so far, and what you guys think.
All right, this is Jared's division right here.
The Browns are the worst team in that division, even though the record doesn't indicate it.
Yes, clearly.
The Ravens are a weird one too. They really should have won opening night. That was a close game.
They had a rough schedule, except for
a really tough schedule. Cincinnati's an 0-3 team that has had multiple opportunities to win games. Joe Burrow's looked great. Normally, it's the opposite. Normally, he struggles right out of the gate. And Pittsburgh's defense looks lights out like we kind of always think it's going to be. This division is it's weird that Pittsburgh's 3-0, but it's not shocking, if that makes sense.
No.
The more shocking parts are the Ravens 1-2 and the Bengals 0-3. That's how I see it.
Yeah, so but it's still so early. Like with Baltimore, I'm not very worried about Baltimore.
I'm not extremely worried about Cincinnati, even at 0-3 too, which is
I'm
weird.
worried about their defense.
Their defense is bad. It's not good.
And that's the only time they've ever really won anything is whenever, everybody talks about Joe Burrow and all that. But the only time they've ever been really good is whenever that defense has really carried the way for them. And I just if that's not going to be the case, it's going to be hard for them to win ball games.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. Their defense looks as bad as.
But the Steelers, I don't know how sustainable the pace that they're on it. They're allowing less than 9 points a game right now. And that's historic levels of defense. I don't know how sustainable that is.
Pittsburgh's designed to do exactly what they've been doing, win ugly, close games.
And the thing is you can tell they're so well coached because if you look at the turnover differential, they don't turn the ball over on offense. They just don't. They don't commit penalties. They don't turn the ball over, and their defense will make you pay.
TJ Watt is a machine. That guy is ridiculously
He's
good.
Defensive Player of the Year so far.
Hands down.
Yeah, it's him or Aiden Hutchinson. After Hutchinson just had that big week, but this is where we were at before the year. Landon, you and I had the Ravens. Jared had the Bengals. I was the only one that didn't pick the Steelers to finish last, but I had them all the way up at third. The I don't know how far. I don't know if you guys got into the Bengals at all, but
we did a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's just been.
I think the Bengals have just had bad beats too. They're 0-3, but
it doesn't help. You're expecting that offense to do big things, and
they're a pass interference away from beating. They're a pass interference away from beating Kansas City. Their defense lost last week. There's no doubt about that. Burrow looked great. Jay Daniels looked great for that matter too. But the team that's the biggest shock is the one that's in first place. There's no doubt about it. I think Cleveland's done. I just think they're just not that good of a team.
I think everybody too. I know he hasn't just been like MVP level lights out, but I really do think Justin Fields deserves his flowers
Absolutely.
because
I after this week, I agree. I didn't think Fields looked all that great the first 2 weeks, but this past week, I thought he looked really good.
but he's playing clean. He's playing clean football, right? He's not giving the ball away. He's making the right reads, and he's getting the ball out. And that's notoriously where he's kind of struggled in his career is he's just trying to do too much, mostly because he's had to do too much. He like as you see with Caleb Williams now with the Bears is like he's had to do way too much. So
Yeah. I mean, he was set up to fail whenever he was in Chicago.
so I think now like with him being in an organization to where he knows like, hey, you know what? Like that's such a big thing for young quarterbacks is like, if it's 3rd and long, hey, it's okay to get, if it's 3rd and 11, it's okay to get 8 yards and punt because I know my defense has got me. Like I don't have to force a throw over the middle to try to make a play and end up turning the ball over and making a stupid decision. Like you can just make the smart, easy play. And a lot of the times, the teams that make the least amount of mistakes in the NFL, that's who win the ball games.
What you
And that's
just
why
said right
We knew
there.
we knew
that's
the
why it's
Steelers
so
were going to be.
that's why it's so hard to beat Kansas City. That's why it's so hard to beat the Chiefs, is because
If you ask the internet, it's only because of the refs. But
well, I mean,
I agree with your your sentiment.
that does play a little bit. They do get a little bit of favorable things to go their way, but it's not
I don't
really
think it's any different than anybody else.
Yeah,
People
but
just
it's
pay
not
more
really
attention
the
because
Refs.
of
The
the
reason
Chiefs.
why Kansas City is so hard to beat is because they don't make a lot of mistakes, and if you do make a mistake against them, they make you pay for it.
Yeah,
And
that's the part right
and,
there.
and I think that's where the Steelers are right now. And I think that's really what Justin Fields. I mean, it's really.
I don't think the Steelers' offense is quite good enough to make you pay for like all the mistakes.
I'm not saying
make.
like it makes
you can afford to
I
make
don't-
mistakes.
I
against
wasn't
the
meaning
Steelers.
as far as like like makes you pay for it. Like I'm not trying to say like that, but I'm saying as far as like they don't put themselves in a lot of bad positions.
No, yeah,
Well,
they don't really make mistakes. I think
Yeah,
you can
that's what
afford
I'm
to.
saying.
I think you can afford to make mistakes against the Steelers, but you can't. Yeah, you can't be counting on them to make mistakes right now. But
Yeah,
the question with the Steelers is though, like it's great that you're 3-0 through 3 weeks, but is this sustainable at all? Like, do you guys think they're going to keep this up? Is any of the three of us going to pick the Steelers to win the division now?
no.
I could pick
I
them as a
still-
playoff team, though.
Yeah, I
think
can see
they're
them as a
definitely-
playoff team.
I definitely think they're more than likely a wild card team. And really, it just depends on the growth of Justin Fields. Like, if he can take the next step now, like now that it seems like he's learned right to make the easy play, and you don't have to be a hero. Now, if you can make those easy plays and do all the, do the Brock Purdy thing, right? Like just play like Brock Purdy. But now with Justin Fields' talent, if you can play like that, but then still sprinkle in those special moments of where he takes off 40 yards down the field or he uncorks a bomb to George Pickens, if you can just sprinkle in one or two of those a game, those explosives, right? And you can make a few of those game-changing plays, then I think you see this offense could take the next leap. I don't think their defense can sustain what they're doing because it's literally impossible to sustain what they're doing. They're giving up 8.6 points per game. That would be the greatest defensive season probably in NFL history.
Yeah,
What-
I mean, and
I
it
don't
helps
think
whenever
that's
two of your 3 games were the Bo Nix led Denver Broncos and the we don't really want to score that many points and our quarterbacks beat the shit Los Angeles Chargers too. Like whenever
Yeah.
2 of your 3 games are against those offenses to start the year.
Yeah, so I
it
don't.
not that their defense isn't strong, but
The
I think
defense is
it's a
fantastic,
scoop
but it's
bump
just
and
there's gonna come a time whenever they do face adversity where their defense does end up having an off night
the
and
schedule
giving
gets
up.
a little bit tougher too.
Yeah, and
here-
giving
here
up,
soon.
instead of 8 points, if their defense gives up 28 points, is their offense good enough to overcome that? Right now, I don't think it is, but I think it's got potential to possibly get to that level. It just really depends on if Justin Fields can take that next step as a passer and if their offensive line can continue to develop and stuff like that. So I think Steelers are a very good football team. Obviously, they were always going to be well coached. They, it was basically I just picked them to finish last, not because I thought they were like even with them finishing last in that division, I thought they were going to be an 8-win team.
Yeah.
I just
I mean, they're at the bare minimum they're going to flirt with
Yeah.
500. Like they're
Yeah.
going to be just above
they're
500.
not
This is
they're
what
not going to
Tomlin
be a
does.
losing team. But I think what you're seeing with the rest of that division is like kind of the anti-Steelers to where they just beat themselves constantly. Whether it's with the Bengals with their defense, or whether it's with the Browns with their quarterback turning the ball over at the rate he does, or the Ravens just getting a few bad bounces here or there.
Their defense has had issues closing out games
Yeah.
too. The Ravens.
Yeah. Well, losing McDonald,
the-
that's a big loss.
Here's the thing in a nutshell, too. I mean, it's right here on the screen. The Steelers have scored 51 points this year. The Ravens have scored 71. They're 1-2. The Bengals are 0-3 and scored 68 points. At some point, you're going to have to score points.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think Pittsburgh they can withstand this division. Those two teams right there are lighting up scoreboards, Baltimore and Cincinnati. I think it ultimately comes down to is Baltimore's defense going to get any better too? Because it's not been good, and Cincinnati's defense is atrocious. So this division, like it's a weird division.
Well, here's a little bit of the difference though between those two. Is I think Baltimore's defense, I think they have the talent to improve, where Cincinnati's defense, I don't think really outside of a couple guys, I don't think they're that talented. Like losing Jesse Bates this year is a big deal for them, and it shows every single week. Like that was such a stupid decision not to re-sign that guy. And you saw it actually you saw it in Atlanta. This last game in Atlanta, how big of an impact player he is. That was so dumb for them not to re-sign him. And
they're gonna need Joe Burrow to carry the team, and that's at least a more realistic, realistic thing to ask now that he has T. Higgins back too. Like I mean, that. You need Burrow needs Chase and Higgins on the field if this offense really wants to be at its best. So now that he finally has that, yeah, I mean him being able to move back in the slot does better fit his skill set. So I mean, it is, all jokes aside, it is a good thing now that that Higgins is healthy and he can go back to that. So. Jared, have you joined Landon and I with the Ravens winning this division, or do you still think the Bengals? Like, are you going to stick it out with the Bengals? You think they can turn this thing around and climb from worst to first?
I think they can turn it around. I'm not ready to throw in the towel just yet on the Bengals. I want to make one more point on Pittsburgh. That's something that they have that these other teams don't have too. Is yes, they don't have the offense, but they're one of the few teams in the NFL when it's 4th and 3, they can actually punt the ball and feel comfortable giving it back to the other team without giving up points. I watched the last 3 weeks. I don't know how many teams go for it on 4th down and 3, 4th down 2, and you're seeing a lot of teams turn the ball over because they don't trust their defense at all.
Why do teams do that though?
Because the analytics tell them to.
Analytics.
But Pittsburgh is
because it's the right thing to do. If you have the offense, offense to do it, it's the right thing to do.
Right, but Pittsburgh has the defense to where they have the option to actually punt. Where I don't think any of these teams in that division outside of Pittsburgh has that.
Well, I also don't. Again, I think the Steelers' defense is good, but I also don't think they've really been tested that much. They had the Falcons in week 1, Kirk Cousins, his first game coming back from a torn Achilles, and then they had Bo Nix week 2, and then they had a beat the shit Justin Herbert in week 3. That's their 3 games so far this year.
Now they get Anthony Richardson and the Colts.
You got to play who's on your schedule. It's not their fault. I'm just saying
Absolutely.
The Steelers defense. I think the Steelers defense is good, but I still don't think we really know how good they actually are. I really don't feel like they've been tested that much yet.
I mean, we'll see. But I'm telling you, like they
better cover Alec Pierce. That's all I'll tell them.
Yeah, Michael
Josh
Pitt,
Downs is back too, right?
R.I.P. Michael Pitt.
They did.
God.
All right, so we still got the Ravens. Landon and I still do anyway. Jared, Bengals might still be able to turn around for Jared. Is there even really anything to talk about with this next division with the AFC West?
No, it's pretty trash outside of Kansas City. I
Yeah.
had no faith in the Chargers coming into the season, anyways. They're not
Yeah,
going to throw the ball.
they'll. I think the Chargers will be good enough to be second in the division, but I don't think they'll be good enough to be a playoff team.
Agreed.
So,
well, it's just because every year their whole team ends up on an IR. So
that is definitely a part of it for sure. And then they went and signed J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. So what could go wrong there?
hey, don't be shitting on J.K.
I'm not shitting on him as a player. He's looked great.
Made it 3 weeks.
Look, you said it with Devin Singletary, and it's been the same thing with J.K. He's a ticking time bomb, and I'm not the predicting injury type, but
there's a history there.
Yeah, there's definitely a history there. But I love J.K. Dobbins. I mean, I hope he keeps it up. He's fun to watch. It's almost kind of depressing though, because the long speed, like you could just like he's broke away a couple runs that like 2-3 years ago would have been touchdowns, and he's getting tracked down now, and that part's kind of sad. But it's regardless, it's good to see him coming back from all those injuries and playing as well as he is. So I hope he can ride the thing out the whole rest of the season. All right, we don't have to talk about the AFC West. I'm sorry if for some reason you came back to watch the show and you thought that we were going to break down the AFC West. There's nothing to break down. The Chiefs are going to win the division. Everybody else is null and void. But we got to talk about this, though, because the fucking Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen.
Dude.
MVP through 3 weeks?
MVP Josh Allen.
Yeah.
It's happening this year. This is the year.
We do this every year.
No, this is the year. And I love the post game. We got to touch on that too, because he's 100% right. Like, the team's better without Stephon Diggs.
He said that?
More or less. He said that he loves it's more fun playing guys that don't look for stats. And we all know where that was pointed at.
He did say that.
Really? I missed that.
Yep. He's 100% right. And dude, I think he's going to win MVP. Like, I think this is the year, and I think this is the year Buffalo gets over the hump. I think it is the year.
Yeah,
I still think they'll get bounced in the playoffs, but the defense, especially like the pass defense.
I thought he was MVP last year.
Could have made an argument for it.
You could have made an argument, but I don't think he was MVP last year.
Bro, he accounted for like 45 touchdowns.
Yeah, you could have made an argument for it for sure.
They started off so terrible though at the beginning of the year. I mean, they did. I mean, they squeaked.
Not because of Josh Allen.
No, it wasn't Josh Allen,
but the Jets. You know, I mean, Landon, you and I both we were high on the Jets prior to the start of the season. They're starting to come around a little bit too.
Yeah,
I'm still not ready to come off of that. I mean, the defense looks as promised. Rodgers is starting to kind of. He put on a clinic against New England. Like, that was just some fucking beautiful quarterbacking.
That's the last of a dying breed.
Yeah. We were very spoiled with the whole Rodgers and Manning and Brady and Breeze and Big Ben and
Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers should absolutely be in that as well. Yeah, man, those quarterbacks from that era were.
It'll never happen again. We took it.
No, it's dead.
And you know what? No, I'm not gonna exclude this name either. Matthew Stafford. Those group of quarterbacks are extremely special to watch, and it's a shame that it's we only get it for a little bit longer, because those guys aren't going to be around much longer. Yeah,
it's an endangered species at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers was toying with New England, and it was so much fun to watch. And just watching that and seeing that he can do that on any given week, I don't think it's as consistent as it used to be.
Jared, I believe you said he was done, right? He was washed. It's over.
Yeah, I don't think it's Jover. I don't think we have back-to-back MVP Aaron Rodgers like we used to. But I definitely wouldn't have picked him to win the division if I thought it was Jover. But it's a little bit more hit or miss than it used to be. But you also have the defense to supplement that too. Like, this is a really well-rounded team. I still don't love the weapons at receiver behind Garrett Wilson, even though I know, Landon, you're going to scream Alan Lazard. And he's going to have another big week this week too, is the thing about it, because the Jets have to play. They play the Broncos Is that who it is? Who
I
did the
think
Jets
so.
play this week?
He's
The
gonna
Jets,
lock
the Jets
up.
play the Jets play another team that has a really good corner that's going to give Garrett Wilson fits, and Lazard is going to be open again this week, and he's probably going to make plays again.
And I still won't play him.
That's what he does.
No, me either. But yeah, no, I think that this is going to be a really, really, really fun race to watch the entire season. I think the Jets and Bills is going to be like a fight all the way to the end of the year. Matter of fact, let me look at. Let's see.
Yeah,
The Bills have scored
let me just pull up,
112
like,
points.
Let
The
me pull
Bills
up
have
the
scored
Jets schedule.
112 points in 3 games.
Yeah. They've been on fire. I really hope we have like a week 17 or week 18 Jets.
That's
Bills
really
game.
true. Like that's even without Keon Coleman doing really much of anything.
He had a good game last week, but
He had 1 catch.
Oh yeah.
touchdown.
Week 17, the Jets at the Bills. That game's going to be for the division.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo already have the division.
I don't think the
that's
Jets
my
are going to let
thoughts.
them run away. I think it's going to be close. I think they're going to keep it close the whole way.
The Jets, I believe, in our playoff thing, I think I had the Jets as my 1 overall seed this year.
The Pats are the Pats are cooked. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be a lost year for the Pats. The Dolphins with
I was wrong about the
Did I pick the Dolphins to win that division? I can't remember.
Yeah, what is our division?
I'll pull that back up real quick.
No, I was wrong on Buffalo. I thought this was a year they would take a step back because I didn't think they would be rebuilding, but I thought they would be reloading.
So
Damn, I
Landon had Jets, Dolphins, Bills, Pats. Jared had Dolphins, Bills, Jets, Pats, and then I had Jets, Bills, Dolphins, Pats.
You might have nailed that division, Drew.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have flipped the Bills and the Jets, but
yeah.
To
be fair, like the Dolphins, like you never really predict what happens to Tua.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't really.
They're done without him though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I do think that Tyler Huntley is a better option than Skylar Thompson as far as backups go. But not serious enough of an option to where they're going to be any kind of contender. I mean,
tough.
At this point, they should probably just leave Skylar Thompson in there and see how high of a draft pick they could get.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we got a split of the Ravens and the Bengals for the AFC North through 3 weeks. Consensus for the Texans and the AFC South. Landon, are you ready to flip to the Bills yet, or are you still going to ride with the Jets?
I'm riding with the Jets.
Yeah, I'm still seeing this.
Can I flip to the Bills?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of this, man. Yes. All right. So we got Jared flipping to the Bills. Me and Landon, we're going to ride out the Jets train, and then the AFC West. I mean, we know what it is. It's the Chiefs. It's always the Chiefs. All right. So
NFC.
Yeah, before we go to the NFC, quick prediction: who represents the AFC in the Super Bowl this year, based on what we've seen so far?
Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm Kansas City too.
Kansas City.
I'm still Kansas City as well.
Buffalo, you go undefeated in the regular season, and they lose.
Kansas City's beat up, bro. They're injured. Like they've got a lot of injuries right now.
Yeah, thankfully they have a division that they don't have to worry about, and they got all the time in the world to get healthy before.
Buffalo, I mean, outside of the Jets, what's Buffalo got to worry about?
The Jets. No, you only need one team.
We're playing twice in the regular season now.
I know, but you still have to worry about them taking the division from you, though, and then you don't get a home playoff game anymore. They still.
Yeah, you got to also remember, Jared, since you're so big about the schedule. I believe the Jets have they don't play a first place schedule like Buffalo does.
I don't think it matters.
Oh, I do. I think that definitely plays a part.
Buffalo is pacing these teams, man. They didn't even have to throw the ball in the second half against Jacksonville.
It's 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, we're like, there's no way we actually think they're just going to sleepwalk through the entire NFL season, though.
I mean, do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to play like he did against the New England Patriots every week too?
No, I think both teams are going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, you're like it's never as good as you think it is, and it's never as bad as you think it is. Like it's always somewhere in the middle. Like Buffalo's gonna have a stretch during the season, like they do every year, like every NFL team does, where
Every
they're gonna struggle. Aaron
the year the
Rodgers,
Rams won the Super Bowl, they lost like 4 games in a row in
yeah,
the
like
middle of the
Aaron,
season.
look at Kansas City. Like there was that stretch of last year with Kansas City was losing a few games. Everybody's like, "Oh, are the Chiefs done? Are the Chiefs done?" Like,
I mean, we're gonna get to find out about the Bills here pretty soon. I mean, they got
yeah,
the
you
they've
won't.
got the listen to this.
I won't
The
find out
Bills
if the Bills have
just
I will
the
not find
next
out if the Bills have changed or have become better until they beat Kansas City in the playoffs.
and we'll find out just how hot they are right now. I mean, they got the Ravens this week, the Texans the following week, and then the Jets the week after that.
Yeah.
And then they got a bye week against the Titans.
There's a
And
very
then
realistic possibility that they go from 3-0 to 3-3. It's very realistic.
it could happen. I think they'll probably win at least one of those games, but it could happen for sure.
I don't think they will. I mean, they'll probably win.
But it's within the realm of possibilities, though.
But they'll probably lose one of those three, I would imagine.
I think Josh Allen's different this year.
He does look like he's stepped it up a little bit for sure, but I don't know. We'll see. All right. I'm excited to talk about the NFC. I don't know how we're already an hour in. We haven't even talked about them yet, but looking at the standings for the NFC through 3 weeks is fucking hilarious. Because just say like we all predicted, you've got the division leading Commanders, Seahawks, and Vikings. There are 3 weeks, so we'll just start with the NFC East. I think that I think it's cool that the Commanders are here, but I don't.
It's still
I don't
the
think,
Eagles.
Yeah, it's still the Eagles for me too. Hurts, but Hurts, I think
He's
that
not
they're going to
okay.
win the division, but Hurts has definitely not played well enough for them to make noise in the playoffs, though.
No, I think that whole division is just not that good this year. The East.
I think the Cowboys are going to get better as the year goes on. I think it'll still be the Eagles and Cowboys down the stretch. Let's see where we were at with this division to start the year.
I think I had the Eagles, if I remember correctly.
I think I had the Cowboys winning the division.
You did.
Let's see. Yep. So you had the Cowboys, and then Jared and I had the Eagles, but we were both of us were Eagles Cowboys at the top. Actually, we were we were both Eagles Cowboys at the top.
Like,
we were both Commanders Giants.
So Dallas is up right now. If Dallas wins, and I mean this whole division could be 500 by the end of this week.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. There's
just the NFC is terrible.
It is. The NFC.
All the talent is in the freaking AFC.
Jared, where are you leaning with the NFC? So you thinking someone in this division now that we've seen what we've seen?
I still think the Eagles are the best team in that division. They have flaws, but
their flaws aren't as fatal.
Yeah, I'm really kind of worried about Dallas, to be honest with you. I think they have an identity crisis.
Dallas's defense
it's not good this year.
Dak has to play lights out every single week because they have no run game to be able to rely on. Like
right.
he's not going to get any support from the run game. Like Dak has to play lights out.
We knew that going in.
Yeah, I know. It's just seeing like you still always have some optimism that maybe it won't be as bad as you think. But then we've seen it. And yeah, it is just as bad as we thought. Like they are who we thought they were.
It's rough. And that offensive line isn't what it once was either.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah. And to counter that, though, I think Philly's offensive line is not what it once was either as well. Like it's that division's tough. Like it's not a good division right now. The Giants
it would be cool as shit to see the Commanders go on a run and just take this.
I would love it. Mainly,
I had so much fun watching them.
That defense is not good either.
That defense is horrendous.
No, the defense is terrible. They are awful. But
that would be fun just because it would be the first year that Dan Snyder's not there, and then they're actually good and win the division.
Yeah, that's such.
That would be awesome
for the Commanders.
Yeah, that would be sick. So yeah, I'm rooting for the Commanders.
Oh yeah, 100%. I am too. Yeah, I hope they win the division. That would be great.
And I was wrong on Jaden Daniels, so I'm glad I was wrong.
I was right.
He's fun to watch. He's a lot of fun to watch. Watching him play against Cincinnati was like, don't get me wrong, they have mixed in a good amount of screens and things like that, but he was stretching the field against the Bengals.
That throw, man.
Yeah,
I know
to
it's
me-
one throw.
He had,
but
he had
me,
multiple,
like, it
he had
was-
multiple deep throws though.
Yeah, to me, like what I saw different was just like the little things, is like that I didn't think he did in college. Whereas like he was getting through his, because in college you would watch him, and if like his first read wasn't there, he would literally put his head down and just run. And I'm like, dude, you're not going to be able to get away with that at the NFL.
I
To his,
think he did a good job with that. I mean,
but to his credit, he's not doing that. Like he's really, like, he's getting through his reads. He's not just basically like, oh no, this, I'm looking at half the field, half the field. My first read's not open. I'm just going to run around and scramble. I do think
he's been running quite
he
a bit.
needs, I do think he needs to chill out a little bit, because some of the hits that he takes, like that, you ain't gonna hold up in the NFL.
Yeah, he's not a huge dude.
the one thing I'll say,
he takes some shots. Like
the one thing I'll say about
He's a
Jaden
dog.
Daniels too, I don't know if you guys have picked up on this. He's poised, man. He's the same
What-
whether he throws a touchdown. He's the same as what he is if he throws an interception. Like it's almost like he shrugs it off. It's on to the next play. And to be that young and in that situation with that organization, I don't know, man. I think he's gonna be good for a long time to come. I think he's
he's got to chill out on taking. He's got to learn how to, like, if he can protect himself the way Lamar does. Like Lamar is really good about like getting out of bounds and going down and before
Yeah, Lamar's a very smart runner.
Yeah, so
Well, it's funny too that they interviewed. I can't remember what Bengals player it was, but before that game, he said,
it was Taylor Cambritt, right?
"Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
Taylor
like on
Britt.
college
Taylor
offense.
Britt. I don't
Cam
know.
Taylor Britt.
Cam
They
Taylor
dropped
Britt, yeah.
33 points on him."
The same dude.
and then their coach after the game was like, "Yeah, he probably shouldn't be saying stuff like that." Before
That was the
game."
same dude that what was it? Was it Xavier Worthy with the Chiefs? He's like, all he can do is run straight.
Yeah,
Like he just runs fast. He was talking mess to the Chiefs, and then
Yeah, he should
They
probably just play ball
Yeah.
probably just-
Not give up
until
33
until they stop getting cooked.
yeah.
All right, so Eagles across the board for the NFC East.
Lane's
I'm
still
still gonna stick with the Cowboys.
Are you still sticking with the Cowboys? Okay.
Yeah,
Do you think this division has two playoff teams?
Based on the rest of the NFC,
Maybe by default, just because of
Yeah.
how bad the rest of the conference is.
yeah, all of it. Actually, well, you know what? I'll actually swear. I'm not going to take it down because I was already on the fence whenever I made the prediction as well.
Yeah.
I don't trust Jerry Jones. I don't trust their defense. I don't trust Mike McCarthy, to be honest.
This is the year he gets fired, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to take Philadelphia.
Clean sweep for Philly for the NFC East based on
They got a
the
lot
first
that they need
three.
to clean up too.
Yeah. Every team in that division has issues. Even if you told me like, hey, I think the Commanders can win the division, I wouldn't push back that hard on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
88 points.
The defense is really bad, but man, that offense has been electric. They should probably try to trade for a receiver. Maybe they could see if the Eagles could trade him like Jahan Dotson or something. I'm just saying that's.
I was wrong on John Dodson.
I don't
was
think
dead
Jahan
wrong.
Dotson is even really that good either.
No, he's
it's more
not
a product of just.
I was
having-
never on John Dotson.
I was.
Even
I
coming
was.
out of college, like I didn't see it.
NFC West. I don't really want to talk about this one.
The NFC IR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which team can stay healthy, man? I mean, it's
Not the two at the bottom.
no, definitely not the two at the bottom. Rams got so many damn injuries they couldn't even put Cooper Kupp on IR because they already had the max amount of people on IR, so they couldn't put Kupp on IR even if they
Also,
wanted to.
look. Can we shout out Brock Purdy finally on this show? Look at the game he just played
Because he's played good one game this year. We got to shot him out now.
Jawan.
We also played a team that's decimated on both sides of the ball.
The Rams secondary is terrible. Bro, look, Jamison Williams torched the Rams in week 1. Marvin Harrison Jr. cooked the Rams in week 2. Like the Rams secondary is terrible. We're gonna give Brock Purdy props for that?
Oh, there we go.
Give it to Jawan Jennings.
Hold on. So when he plays a good secondary, so what he has to do to get props, he has to play a good.
I told you that he is a good NFL quarterback. That is what I have.
Dude,
I have upgraded my opinion of Brock Purdy to.
Okay.
You are not getting anything more than that out of me.
That's fine. I will take that from you.
He is good. He is middle of the road.
He's just not trash.
He is in the Jared Goff tier of quarterbacks.
Stop.
I'll say this too.
What kind of gap? What is he any better at than Jared Goff? At what? Other than being a little bit more mobile, what does he do better than Jared Goff?
Yeah, he creates.
What does he
structure way better
what does he do better than
make
Kirk
plays
Cousins,
outside.
Kirk Cousins used to be a good example, but he just looks like a different version of himself now that he has that Achilles injury that he's trying to come back from. But like that's the area of quarterback. Like that's the area that I look at is Jared Goff and like pre-Achilles tear Kirk Cousins. Like that's the territory that I think Brock Purdy's in. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like those guys are good NFL quarterbacks, but he's not an elite NFL quarterback. He's a guy you can win with. He's not a guy you're going to win because of.
Something was very much proven too this last week. Brandon Ayuk is not a 1.
I think we had to wait a little bit on that too. The guy did nothing the entire offseason.
Yeah,
like it was easy to predict that he'd have a slow start.
Yeah, this is his preseason basically.
Yeah,
I don't think he's an alpha. I mean, that's just me, but
I actually agree.
He's one of the best route runners and best separators in the NFL.
Jawan Jennings looked like the best route runner in the NFL last week.
He might not. Yeah, and Jawan Jennings had a couple broken plays, but he's one of the best. He's one of the best separators and route runners that the league has to offer. He might not be like a alpha like AJ Brown. I'm going to overpower you type of guy, but he is one of the best technical receivers that's in the league, in my opinion. And if he was on a team that
I'm more surprised
that really featured him and didn't have so many weapons, I think he would be much, much more productive. And we'd be.
I'm more surprised with the 49ers defense really taking a step back like they have, which I know Nick Bosa's hurt as well, he's
always hurt.
That's a pretty big thing, but I figured they would be a little bit better on defense than what they have been.
They're banged up bad. I mean, they lost Fred Warner too in that game. Like it's rough. It's a rough year for the West.
Sheesh. You want to talk about the Rams, Drew?
I just wish they could. I wish they could get healthy, man. I mean, Kupp and Puka both out. They at one point they were down to their
entire offensive line and the fucking health.
They're missing both of their starting guards. At one point they were down to their third string left tackle. They finally got their starting right tackle back. They're missing they're missing one of their corners, one of their starting safeties. The one thing that they do got going for them is as rookies, both Braden Fisk and Jared Verse they lead all rookies in pressures through 3 weeks so far.
But not in pressure percentage.
But they do in pressures though. They're 1 and 2.
Yeah.
How good is Kyron Williams though?
He's been good.
He's been bad. What?
He had a great game.
He's averaging like 2.5 yards a carry. The Rams as an offense have 8 touchdowns and he has like 5 of them, which is completely unsustainable. That's why it seems like he's having a good year. He has been so horribly inefficient. He's just getting a lot of. No, he's had like 8 snaps the entire season.
Yeah,
Kyron Williams is getting all the work.
Yeah, Blake Bortles not existent, bro.
Kyron's getting all the work, but he has been horribly inefficient. But he's a decent pass catcher. He's good in pass pro. He does those things right, but he's not a good runner. And that's trending back to last year too. He Kyron looked better as a runner toward the end of last year than he did the beginning of last year too. So maybe that happens again this year. But he has not been an efficient runner.
Well,
this
like the
year.
thing too with efficiency, especially with running backs, is like it's so offensive line dependent. Like it just is. Like
I
there,
think it's two things. I think it's the line
there's
and its scheme, and he's got the scheme going
well,
for
I
him.
mean, like
The line isn't helping
there's
though.
so many like there's gosh, maybe not even a handful of running backs in the NFL to where like it doesn't matter what your offensive line is, like you're gonna be good. Like there's not many of them. Like Derrick Henry's one. I would even say like Jonathan Taylor, as great as he is, like his off like he is also very offensive line dependent. Like that whole position for the most part is like the efficiency numbers are really based on your offensive line. It's hard to play running back whenever you're dealing with a lot of guys in the backfield whenever you take the handoff.
No,
So
yeah, it's definitely
Oh,
a big
yeah.
piece of the puzzle for sure, for sure. But I mean, we've spent all this time talking. We ain't even talked about the 3-0 Seahawks.
yeah,
Like they're undefeated and they look good.
Gino, bro.
Gino's balling out. That Ryan Grubb he's got some life into the offense. They're finally not using JSN like a screen merchant, which I can see now why he was so excited to see Shane Waldron leave. And the Bears are feeling every bit of that right now. But
My God. DK
yeah.
Metcalf looks great this year too.
The defense looks awesome. You could tell Mike
Tariq
McDonald.
Woolen, baby. Oof.
Mike McDonald brought the toughness over with him, and I mean they already had the personnel in place. Like they've got
Tariq
really
Woolen
good
not being
players.
an Indianapolis Colt still pisses me off to this day. Like
Uh,
literally the RAS of all RASs. And like
He
that's
did.
the
There was
that's
ever
the
a player the Colts should have drafted.
yeah,
you
like
would
that's
have
the
thought they
one
would have
guy. Like
drafted.
I was literally banging the table for that dude in the second round. I was like, oh man,
I
like, second
remember
round.
too.
Like that guy just I saw it. Like I mean, I just saw it. And then he went in the fifth round.
Fifth
The
round.
fifth fucking round. And then lo and behold, he's been the best cornerback in football this year. Like
Yeah. He's
incredible.
yeah. He's
Like, who would have ever guessed the guy that's like 6'4" with that length that can run a 4.2 with his 10-yard split? Like, if he got a little bit of coaching, who would have ever thought that guy would be a good cornerback? Jeez.
but then now I'm not. It's the same question that I asked with the Steelers. Is this sustainable? Is anybody going to change their pick and pick the Seahawks to win the division?
Right now, yeah.
I mean, the way that division's banged up.
The injuries, yeah. I mean, you almost have to right now.
Yeah, it's
You don't have to though. It's a long season.
It is a long season, but man.
It's hard to project where these teams that are injured are going to be because we don't really have a whole lot of clarity of when players are going to get back on the field. Yeah. But I hate that Matthew Stafford is playing out of his fucking mind and it's
sure
kind of going to waste because they just. I mean, he's doing everything he can to keep this team afloat.
Yeah, this is Detroit Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, yeah, with a better head coach. It's the Detroit time that he had, but he actually has a head coach still. But
yeah, it's just I've still got some question marks about the Rams defense.
Yeah, the defensive line is solid, but everything else outside of that, the second and third level of the Rams defense is in fucking shambles. I don't understand the whole Ernest Jones thing.
The trade, yeah, that's
he's fucking been balling for Tennessee. Like we didn't really talk about it much because there's not a lot to talk about with the Titans, but their defense.
Well, we kind of touched about it with Levis earlier about the.
Well, I'm just talking about we didn't really talk about their defense though. But the Titans defense has been a strong unit this year. And Ernest Jones
last week.
Ernest Jones, like I was watching Ernest
Matt LaFleur
Jones
put his ball sack on him.
I mean, it also doesn't help whenever they're on the field as much as they are either. But I watched Ernest Jones play with Tennessee. Like, man, the Rams really could use a linebacker like that right about now. So yeah, I don't know if the Rams are going to be able to hang with the with the second and third level of their defense. And I don't know what to think about the 49ers either. It's not crazy to just say the Seahawks could lead this division the whole way.
Yeah. I mean, right now I feel like they've got to be the favorites.
I think the Seahawks are a more legit 3-0 start than Pittsburgh.
I agree.
And
they're even doing it like once Kenneth Walker comes back, they're going to get even better.
Yeah,
because he looked great in week 1.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the most fun running backs to watch.
So I'll take Seattle.
Same.
Let's see if Seattle can run the table. Okay.
Basically nukes my Rams prediction for this year.
Yeah. We all three of us had the Rams. All three of us had Rams. It's kind of funny. All three of us had Rams, 49ers, Cardinals, Seahawks.
Bonkers.
It's literally almost the exact
Yeah, and it's basically flip-flopped for the most part. All right, so speaking of 3-0 teams that we all saw coming, let me throw this up here real quick for us so that we can see where we thought this division was going to be at.
I'll tell you what, if it wasn't a quarterback award, if it wasn't Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson's the most valuable player in the NFL.
For real. That dude has been so good.
Jesus Christ.
Give Sam Darnold his flowers, man. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I said Sam Darnold will be fine this year because of the head coach, because of the offense. Aaron Jones is a good running back.
And it has been because of all those things, but it's also been because of Sam Darnold.
Yeah, you're right on that one. Darnold has looked.
Yeah, that was a good call, Jared. You should toot your own horn on that one because there was not very many people that thought that the Vikings were going to be able to stay afloat with Sam Darnold. You were one of the few people that were saying that.
They've not just stayed afloat; they've dominated.
No T.J. Hawkinson yet either.
I hadn't really had much Jordan Addison either. Nope. It's been Justin Jefferson and Jalen Naylor.
Aaron Jones has looked pretty good.
Yeah, Aaron Jones has looked good. That was a guy that I've been wrong on so far. There has not been a long history of running backs Aaron Jones' age to change teams and see success, but he's been balling.
Well, a lot of that's been, that's the one area I think that going into the year that I wasn't really worried about with the Vikings is in the trenches with them. I think
their defense has been the surprising thing for me.
Their defensive line has been
that pass rush is good.
Insane.
Yeah, I thought that their defense was not going to be a very good unit this year, and they've looked tough.
They made
Gilmore has really been a big addition for them.
But
Harrison Smith looks rejuvenated, like a young Harrison Smith again. He looks fantastic.
Throw this back up here. The question is, though, again, is this sustainable? Would any of you guys pick the Vikings to win this division now?
No.
I still got the Lions to win it.
Yeah, me either.
Still got Green Bay.
I still got the Lions as well. So we're still sticking with our original picks, which I think this division is still like the Lions and the Packers have still played well enough that I don't think that there's, it's not like the NFC West where the teams behind the 3-0 team are injury riddled. And
shout out Malik Willis, bro.
Yeah.
Shout out Malik.
Good for him, man. He played good ball. He played really good ball. And it sounds like he might get another week. I know they say Jordan Love's like a game time decision, but I just don't see
with the way
Malik Willis is playing so well, why rush Jordan Love?
There's no reason to rush.
There's no reason to rush him.
Yep. I agree.
Just keep what you're doing. The run game, the offensive line of Green Bay has just been unbelievable.
Defense has been great.
The defense has been really good. LaFleur has looked great.
I still think the Lions are going to win that division, but I think Green Bay and Buffalo are the two most dangerous teams in football right now.
I still don't trust Jared Goff.
I don't really either. I think the Lions as a team are still good enough to win the division, but it's the same story as whenever the Rams will make the playoffs. It's the same thing for the Lions. I think Jared Goff is good enough to get them to the playoffs, good enough to win the division, but I don't think that they're going to.
They were a play away from the Super Bowl last year. They were a Brandon Ayuk
but the problem with that is they should have never been a play away. They were up so big in the first half against San Francisco. They should have never been that way.
I know Jared Goff's frustrating. He also played in a Super Bowl. He's not bad. And the thing is, there's so much talent with that team.
You can win with him, but you're not going to win because of him. It's the same thing I say with Purdy. If you're in a situation where you need him to go win you a ball game,
is there
from time to time he will get it done, but the odds are not in your favor.
Any better year that Detroit makes the Super Bowl other than this year? With the way the NFC looks right now.
The NFC is wide open enough for them to make the Super Bowl, but then I would probably pick whatever AFC team that makes it out of the AFC to dog walk them.
I'm just saying, like,
they could. I don't know if they would ever be dog walked. I wouldn't say that, but I don't know.
I have no faith in the Saints maintaining. I don't think that's going to happen. Tampa Bay is a good story, but come on. Seattle, if they get home field advantage, possibly.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, Seattle would absolutely be a tough matchup for Detroit.
I think Clint Kubiak he's
made a world of difference for that offense.
That's a completely different. Now, like it goes back to
they went from being last year the Saints were dead last in play action percentage and pre-snap motion and everything like that, and now they're top 5 across the board in all of that. Like Clint Kubiak has made a world of difference. The Saints are just hoping that they slip. I feel like the Saints front office is just kind of hoping that they do slip just long enough to give them an excuse to fire Dennis Allen so that they can make Clint Kubiak head coach. Because if they don't, somebody else is going to hire him.
Yeah,
he's good.
I know it's a good story. I hate Dennis Allen. I just can't get behind it.
Yeah, I'm rooting for that guy to get fired.
I agree.
There are a few people that I've rooted on the demise for more than
I don't know if I've ever seen a coach not take accountability the way that Dennis Allen not.
Oh yeah,
the dude is allergic to accountability.
And just be so comfortable throwing his players under the bus at any given moment.
He's allergic to it.
Okay, so we can move on from the NFC North. We said that we're all sticking with our original picks. Me and Jared still got the Lions. Landon still got the Packers there. Let me ask you this: are the Vikings a playoff team though?
I definitely think they could be for sure.
I would take them over Tampa, Atlanta.
This could be the division that has 3
Cardinals.
You think the Vikings are a better team than Tampa?
Right now, yes.
Yeah. I would say yeah.
Better defense.
I think that would be a very, very good game. I think
the Vikings are good in the trenches. The Vikings are really good, especially offensive line wise. They have a very strong offensive line, and I think that allows
their defense is giving up 30 points.
Well, I mean,
they beat the shit out of Houston, dude. Houston's an electric offense.
Houston was injured. Houston was really hurt.
Oh, I'm saying, man. That pass rush is nasty.
It is.
It's nasty. And
Jonathan,
it's another one of those things of I mean they beat San Francisco the week before Houston too.
So here's the thing we didn't talk about though. So you talk about like how great the Vikings pass rush is and all that. Do you know which team or which 2 players lead the league in pressures?
Nope. I don't know.
It's Will Anderson Jr. and who's the other from Houston? Gosh.
The other guy on Houston.
Yeah, Danielle Hunter is first. Will Anderson Jr. is second. So Houston literally has the 2 best pass rushers in football.
Did they play last week?
Yeah. They got
how many points did Minnesota put on Houston?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like you've got.
That's what I'm saying. I think Houston. Darnold's not even having. They're not even asking him to go out and throw the ball 30 times, man. Like that's the other part.
Touchdowns last week.
Right. I mean, Jefferson had a monster first half. He didn't get a single target.
Justin Jefferson's the best player in football right now.
Minnesota looks really good. Like really, really good. It may be fog and smoke, but
I don't know that they feel like they feel like the one that just, and maybe it's
I
just
just,
because it is
like,
Sam
I'm sorry,
Darnold, but they feel like the
like,
one that like is too good to be true.
and yeah, like I'm sorry, like I've got to see more than 3 games from Sam Darnold. Like I've seen this song and dance with him, where he has these stretches where he looks like a franchise quarterback, and you start to buy in, and then usually around mid-season,
Yeah,
it like the bottom drops out.
they're
Every
definitely
and it's
the
happened multiple times. Like
Okay.
they're the 3-0 team that I would be most worried about.
I'm not
I
saying
have
that.
them in the playoffs. I have them as a wild card in the playoffs.
So does this division have 3 playoff teams then, or does one of
It
the
does.
Lions
I
or
think
Packers?
with the state of the
It-
NFC, then I think
It-
yeah.
I think all Lions, Packers, and Vikings all make the playoffs.
Phew, I don't know. I don't know about that.
I
I
mean,
could
if you
see a
look
world
at
where
it,
the
like,
Vikings end up falling out of the playoffs completely.
I mean, it's a possibility, but I would right now. I got them. Dallas is probably about to get beat by the Giants, man. Like that's literally like I'm watching this out of the corner of my eye. Like, they're not a good team, and I don't see them getting better as the year goes on because of their head coach. So I think Philly wins that division. I don't have any other team coming out of there. I don't think the Cardinals are going to come out of the playoffs. The Rams are so beat up. 49ers, if they get healthy, there's a chance.
But that's the issues. We're only 3 weeks in, so some of these teams that are beat up, like they have so much time to get healthy and get
No, I
right
get
back
that.
in it.
I get that. But at the same manner, like, I don't know. There's some holes in each one of these teams.
There is, but the entire NFC is that way.
But
There's not a
like every team has holes now. Like there's no such thing as a complete team. Like every team's dealing with holes.
No, I understand that. I mean, if Darnold doesn't have to throw the ball more than 20 to 25 attempts a game, they're going to be in every one of these games. They're going to get teams fit.
But that's not sustainable. That's what I'm saying. Is like eventually teams are going to say like, okay,
all right, Sam Darnold beat us.
beat us, and can you do it?
Goes back to Pittsburgh.
History shows no. And that's the same thing with Pittsburgh. That's what I'm saying is like it's the same thing with Pittsburgh is like at some point, I think that's what we reference with Pittsburgh. At some point, their defense isn't going to give up 8 points per game. At some point, Minnesota's defense isn't going to give up 10 points per game. Like
The thing about Minnesota's defense, though, is they have been tested more than Pittsburgh's. Like
Yeah.
Minnesota's last 2 games have been against the Niners and which I know the Niners are dealing with injuries, but even with the injuries, they still have a lot of solid personnel. But the last 2 games have been the Niners and the Texans. Like those are, even with the injuries they're dealing with, those are still strong offenses, and the defenses look good. So it's going to be very interesting. I say all that to also say the Vikings are the
But
3
you're
team
gonna-
I'm the
but
most
even just from an
concerned about, but-
offensive perspective, not even just defense, at some point, teams are going to start, loading the box and taking away Aaron Jones and, putting cloud safeties and cloud corners on Justin Jefferson.
I
and
don't
saying,
that part I'm not concerned about. I don't really
Yeah.
think there's anything anybody.
well, no,
can do
you're
to
not
slow
going
down
to
Justin
you're not going to
Jefferson.
take Justin Jefferson away. But
That
I mean,
dude,
you're
man.
going to try to mitigate his impact. Then they're going to say,
Yeah.
okay, like Sam Darnold, can you stay in the pocket, throw the ball 35 times?
But and that's I don't know how I keep arguing for him because I don't believe in him. But that's Jared mentioned this too. This offense still doesn't have T.J. Hawkinson and really hasn't had Jordan Addison much yet either.
Well,
Nope.
hopefully
They
it
got
has.
a great offensive minded.
The offense is just going to get better as the season goes, or at least the
They have a
personnel is
great
going to get better.
offensive minded head coach too.
That
I'll
McVay
call
coaching tree, man.
That's what I'm getting at. Like they're 3-0 and under the radar, in my opinion. Like they're going to be tough.
They are
Team.
still
You just,
somewhat under
like,
the
you just
radar,
have
but
to
just
see.
by the way
Like
we're
that's the
talking
thing
about
with
it.
like trying to think like 3 weeks into the season is like because some of these teams, like a lot of teams, have faced adversity early on, dealing with injuries and dealing with this. Like the Vikings really haven't. The Seahawks really haven't. Like the Bills, like haven't. Like at some point during the season, all of those teams are going to face adversity.
Yeah, those guys they're gonna have guys that get injured, and it's gonna happen to everybody. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't realize just how much of a mess the NFC was until we sat down to do this.
Oh,
I knew it was bad. Like when we talked about it whenever we did the predictions before the season started, but man,
It's bad.
It's rough.
And so the NFC South, the last division. Let me throw this back up here one last time. For this division, we were the Falcons across the board, Falcons and Bucks, and I had the Saints left for dead. I can tell you that
Me
was
too.
one of my biggest misses was not accounting for the impact that Clint Kubiak would make.
Well, Clint Kubiak, this is his first year as an offensive coordinator. Like
I'm not saying that should have been easily predictable, but that was just one of my biggest misses, not accounting for that. Because that offense has looked great, and
defense has still been good. Even before the year started, they still had a solid defense.
Yeah, that was the one thing we knew was that their defense would be.
Yeah, they're
solid.
just aging.
But the Falcons, the Falcons are like 2 plays away from being 3-0, but they're also one Saquon Barkley give me catch away from being 0-3 too.
Yeah,
like they are. I don't know what to think about the Falcons. I really don't. They could be 3-0 or 0-3. They're 1-2 now, which is all that matters. But
I think there's like with the Falcons, though, the thing with them is like there's so many like new faces there that I think as the season goes on and those guys get more comfortable and all that, like I think that's a team that they're going to be one of those that starts to ascend as the year goes on. Like Cousins will find his footing. He'll get a little bit healthier. He'll have better chemistry with Pitts, and Drake London has looked great this year.
He's looked good.
Bijan, they're finally properly using
that team can't run block for shit though.
And that's what's crazy is their offensive line is actually pretty talented. They got some really good talent.
Yeah, but they can't run block for nothing, man. At least through 3 weeks they haven't looked good.
Well, I think a lot of that is also due with the way teams are playing them, is because teams kind of smell blood in the water with Kirk Cousins. With
they know Kirk can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and so they're kind of like, okay, like Kirk Cousins beat us, and like we'll stop you, like we'll send everything at Bijan Robinson in this offensive line. And can Kyle Pitts finally make plays? Like Kyle Pitts, like they're like, to Kyle Pitts' credit, actually, like teams are so worried about Kyle Pitts. Like that guy has got so much coverage on him everywhere he goes. I believe he actually has, when you look at like separation metrics, he has actually like a net 0 in separation, like 0 yards separation. And it's not because of his ability to separate. It's because of how many defenders they have in the area of the field that he is working. And so I think they need to do a little bit better job getting, moving him around and getting him touches, maybe even just in the screen game and stuff like that. But Drake London's looked fantastic. So
he has.
Yep. Yeah, Bijan is averaging 2 yards before contact per attempt, which is 39th among running backs so far this year.
Malik Neighbors, 115 yards on 12 receptions.
That dude is a dog.
Unfreaking real.
What's Wan'Dale Robinson got today? Because it seems like he's everywhere too.
He's got a bunch as well.
Wan'Dale's had a great week he's had 3 straight really solid weeks to start the year.
Wan'Dale has 11 receptions for 71.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
one right there.
They're the clear 1-2 in that offense.
Doubt.
I mean, it's 2 guys.
Giants' offensive line has played really well. Andrew Thomas looks great, naturally.
Yeah. So I mean, with the NFC South, it was a clean sweep for Atlanta. Or any of you guys
Michael Parsons is hurt again.
Any of you guys jumping ship on Atlanta through 3 weeks?
No, I'm not.
I want to stay the course only on the I don't trust Derek Carr, and I think Atlanta has a better roster than Tampa.
Yeah, I think eventually the talent wins out with Atlanta.
If I was going to jump ship, it was going to be Tampa. It wasn't even going to be New Orleans.
Hey, shout out
I
to
agree.
shout out to the Bucks defense. Shout out to Joe Tryon Sharinka. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, he phenomenal pass rusher right now. He looks great.
Can we talk about Carolina for a second?
You want to talk about the Red Rocket?
Andy Dalton looked great, man.
The only quarterback this year to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns so far.
What did I tell you, Jared? Why? What did I tell you last week? Why does Andy Dalton look good?
Because he's a veteran quarterback.
No, it's because he can make plays from the pocket.
Carolina also in the offseason loaded up on more talent on the offense. So it ain't like they did. They loaded up on talent on the offense.
Which one piece of it we haven't gotten to see yet, but
right.
Well, you haven't got to see a lot of Xavier Legette either, and now that Adam Thielen's hurt, you're about to see a lot more.
You're about to.
He looked good. Legette looked good last week.
Yep.
Deontay Johnson. I saw something that Deontay Johnson's receiving yards player prop 2 weeks ago it was like at like 30-something yards, and now it's up to like almost 70 yards for his player prop this week. It's like one of the largest jumps in player props from one week to the next. Yeah, it absolutely is.
That's
like Deontay Johnson is finally
he's a guy that he can stay in the pocket, he can read defenses, and he can deliver an accurate ball.
Yep, I mean, yeah, pretty much.
The NFL, no matter what influx of this athlete and this dude and how exciting this dude is, like, no matter what people say, it is still a pocket passers league, and it always will be.
I can tell you this much: I am rock hard for Jonathan Brooks to come back into this offense now that it's actually functional. I was kind of nervous whenever they were running under Bryce, I'm not gonna lie, but now that it's a somewhat functional offense, whenever they introduce Jonathan Brooks back, and I mean it'll take a couple weeks. Like they're not gonna just throw him off IR and put him in at 90.
Chuba Hubbard's actually looked pretty good.
That's kind of my point is like, and it's no shade to Chuba Hubbard, but he's just, in my personal opinion, he's just not the running back that Jonathan Brooks is. And so like if the offense already looks like that with Chuba Hubbard, whenever you like once Jonathan Brooks gets acclimated and he is playing the 75-80%,
their offensive line has taken a massive step forward this year.
Massive step forward. Yeah, that was part of the problem with Bryce was he wasn't really getting pressured that much. He was still playing like shit.
You dropped it.
Well, it was a forward pass.
All right, real quick before we get out of here, rapid fire. Who's winning the MVP this year?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Okay, I agree. Josh Allen.
He would have been my pick before the year.
Offensive Player of the Year.
Who's hurt? Is that Malik Neighbors?
Yep, it is.
Oh no, no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It ain't good either.
Oh no. Dude, I hate football.
Football sucks. Why do we
can't have nice things?
Talk about this?
Offensive Player of the Year.
Maybe he just got the breath knocked out of him by the football.
So far, 3 weeks, it has to be Saquon or Justin Jefferson, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, everyone's wild card right now, Jefferson. And it's going to piss a lot of people off. Rashee Rice.
I mean, he's played really well the last couple of weeks. I mean, he's been what kept the Kansas City offense afloat. Nobody else.
He's basically in that Travis Kelce role right now.
I think you got to mention him at least, though.
Yeah.
I think he's okay.
He deserves his flowers.
We're good. He's okay.
Okay, good. Thank God. Yeah, I think Justin Jefferson will end up with
Micah Parsons is getting carted off. So.
We talked about Defensive Player of the Year already. We think that's TJ Watt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
Is there any chance for Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Daniels, Caleb?
No, there's definitely a chance for Marvin Harrison Jr.
There's definitely a chance for Jaden Daniels too.
Well,
for Jaden Daniels, it's going to be a quarterback wins thing. Like if
that's what I was going to say.
He'll win it.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels. It's always going to go to the quarterback
if they win.
As long as they're winning games, the quarterback will get it.
Yeah.
But if they don't win games, then that leaves the door open for Malik
Harrison
or Harrison.
Malik,
yeah. defensive rookie of the year. You guys ready to talk about Jared Verse?
Still Latu.
Okay, fair enough. I can't
I have
really.
no dog.
Jared Verse, just for fun fact, Jared Verse is the betting favorite right now, plus 275, and then Latu's right behind him at plus 525.
Yeah. I think what's cool though is Jared Verse. I think he has 2 more pressures than Latu does.
Jared Verse
And-
hasn't been able to finish sacks, but he'll get that figured out.
Well, he has 2 more pressures than Latu, and I think he's played about 30 more snaps.
That Verse's biggest issue is that he's been getting to the quarterback. He just hasn't been able to finish. But
See, Latu
he'll get
finished
that
last
figured out.
week. He finished that game. Strip sack.
Get that figured out.
Cowboys literally
The thing
lost
that sucks
game.
about Latu, the thing that sucks is like the Colts' run defense has been so bad that there hasn't been many opportunities to rush the passer because their run defense just sucked.
They've just been a run funnel all year.
Well, and then now, of course, like
dropping back.
DeForest Buckner is being on IR. Like now, teams are just kind of focusing, on Latu and hitting him with those double teams and stuff. But yeah, his pass rush win rate and his pressure percentage are both top among rookies. He hasn't played the amount of snaps.
He's been as advertised.
Yeah, he's a good
all right, Landon, get us out of here, man.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this type of content, for all 0 of you probably watching right now, we're just all hanging out. Make sure to like, subscribe. We'll be doing this once a month where we all kind of check in, see how the season's going. Really kind of updating what we think is happening. Those predictions as far as rookie of the year and all that, like the awards predictions are pretty much locked in, right? But the playoff predictions, like we're going to keep moving around and seeing how things are moving with the NFL. You can never stay too static, right? So we'll be checking in here in about another 3 to 4 weeks. And just make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. I know Jared's real big on Twitter. You can and so
I've actually got my login now saved to the computer.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, there you go.
You actually follow me on Twitter. Just go ahead and unfollow me, please.
Landon's trying to drive his phone.
Dude, yeah, I got like shitted on hard the other day because I made like a sarcastic post. It was
I saw it. The
Brady,
Peyton and Brady, Mahomes,
because I kept
Allen.
seeing it. I kept seeing that shit pop up on that like during the Bills game, where everybody's like, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. This is just like Brady, and so like I made like So I made a sarcastic post, and I'm like, like mediocre quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, and everybody like, dude, they did not get it. There was like 2 people that understood, and then like the rest of them were like, bro, you're so
this guy's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you call Tom Brady mediocre, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys are so dumb. Yeah, I was like, man, I wish I could just go back to like shit posting on Twitter and nobody would take it. Like, why? Like,
you need a burner account, man.
That's what
you're getting to that point where you have to make a burner account.
I told somebody, I was like, maybe I just need to make a burner. But my whole thing is like, I stand behind what I say, bro. I'm not hiding from nobody. Like, I don't need a burner because there's a few content creators in the Colts community that they've got some burners and they do it to run their mouths a lot at people. And I'm not like that, bro. Like, I'll run my mouth straight to you. Like, you know who I am. Like, here's my face, here's my name. If I got something to say, I'm gonna say it to you. So that's one thing I will stand behind is like, you know where you stand with me, like most of the time. I don't need a burn. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, if you like this stuff, go ahead, hit subscribe. We'll be back in, like I said, 3 or 4 weeks, maybe sooner. Who knows? We don't ever plan this shit.
No.
We just pop in. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you soon.